Welcome everybody. Merrill Chandler here to the Get Fundable Fundability update. What is going on in the news today? Here we go. First of all, let's get through the well, it's all bad news. Let's just take one step at a time. Remember, it always gets better. So, consumer pessimism and inflation heighten credit concerns for banks. That's the headline. But what they're actually saying is that in June, there was almost 400,000 jobs added. There are some markers heading opposite of a traditional recession indicators. But interestingly enough, it's the decline in consumer confidence. And they measure decline in consumer confidence in a number of ways. One of the big ones, even though there's an increase of almost 400,000 jobs in the month of June, the amount of spending, the amount of savings that are tapped, and the amount of credit card debt charges indicate that people are buying more or using credit in order to shore up either savings or people are like, I better replace my tires now. I'm supposed to replace them in 10,000 miles, but I don't know what my life or my finances or my job situation is going to be in. So they're getting tire. That's my example. But the food indexes, right? Indices are and the costs of the cost of living are going up. And so one of the things that there are a significant drop in banking profits as a result of this pullback from consumers. So notice the consumers are pulling back, and it happens every time. I've been through 4 major recessions. It happens the same every time. Consumers get a little sketchy about what's going on out there. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying they pull back. So what happens? Lenders pull back because the amount of borrowing lessens and profits go down as a result from fees and interest on bank loans, et cetera. And then all of a sudden, more pullback from consumers and more banking pullback, et cetera. So there is an easing up of spending, and there is a slight uptick on 30-day lates for credit card payments. Those are major indicators. All right. So we need to monitor that. That's why we do this every week. We're here, and we want to make sure that everybody is aware of what's happening. The next one is similar. I want to keep these two together. Not only are the indexes showing a increase in recessionary pressure, but small bank executives in a massive poll that was taking of the top 200 banks in the United States, there is universal agreement that the recession is imminent. It's not that it's likely, is that everybody is shoring up to get ready for it. And so small bank executives overwhelmingly think the U.S. economy will fall in recession by early next year. Now, there are other people who think it's going to hit us before the end of this year, but there is the community bank leaders, these top 200 are literally talking like 96th percentile on a 1 to 5, 5 being imminent or absolute in its approach to us as a recession. 96% said 5 out of 1 to 5. So community banks have a closer pulse on what's happening. Many community banks and local credit unions like lending in the real estate space, auto loans, things where the cars are close, the homes are close, the commercial properties are in their footprint, and they have better numbers. They're watching. They're also noticing that we're preparing, say these banks, we're preparing to create to weather the storm of recession. So we are there. There's number two. Let's change directions just a little bit. With changes occurring in the political structure of the House of Representatives and the Senate, the Democrats are trying to redouble efforts to pass the overdraft protection bill. Now, there has been a lot of self-policing and a number of Capital One, and normally I'm not a fan of Capital One, but they were one of the first ones to move towards getting rid or significantly lowering overdraft fees, making them not so regressive, because they seem to harm the people who have the least amount of money and the least financial education, hence why we're in the financial and borrower education business. But so they're just pushing hard. I just want to get everybody an update that there is a big push to make sure that there are that the overdraft protection bill creates certain structures that are not really harmful. FICO has an entire section when we were back there in May. FICO had an entire kiosk and a training section about how to help banks move away from the negative relationship building impact that overdraft fees cause for many lenders. So, and there's that. Let's close up with this last one, because it really is it's so I teach in my master course in the boot camp. I teach that there are a total of 16 different combinations between business lending data warehouses and the credit bureaus that monitor those and create algorithms for the data collected by those warehouses. Here's the problem. In March, 12 years ago, in the Dodd-Frank Act coming out of 2008, 12 years ago, Congress mandated that business credit bureaus collect data to identify discrimination in the business lending space. That report still has not been done. So there was a court order signed by a federal judge where they mandated that the bureaus collect it by March 31 of 2023. They've basically got 10 months, 9 months. So there's a mandate now, a court order, that there will be fines charged to all lenders, credit bureaus, whoever this data is being collected from, which is lenders, credit business data warehousers, and the business credit bureaus. So because it's been 12 years and nobody's doing jack crap. So I thought I'd close on that one just to show you that the data sucks, first of all, and nobody's collecting it for 12 years to improve the data points necessary to determine fundability. When they say to identify discrimination and barriers to credit in small business lending, they mean that automatic underwriting data is what drives that automatic underwriting process, and nobody's doing it. So it's time for those of you who are members of the tribe. Join me on Funding Hackers. We're headed over there right now to do live Q&A about what's happening in the world of lending and to solve your individual fundability challenges and keep everybody moving forward. This is Merrill Chandler, your guide to the fundability universe. I'll see you next Tuesday.